Okay guys, so I have another unboxing for you today. This one is an unboxing of the GameMax Kamikaze. I am very excited to see this. I saw a video by it a while ago and instantly fell in love with the case. I thought it was gorgeous. I only wish they made a full ATX version, but in buying the parts for this next workstation build, the motherboard, the only motherboard we could actually afford, was micro ATX, and I instantly went to this because the motherboard's red, this is red, and I think it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. I'm very excited to see what it looks like. So the front of the box is pretty normal. It just has the GameMax logo. It says Kamikaze. It has a QR code for what, I'm not sure. Just turn this around here. We have just some specs. And now I did not know that this came in different colours. I thought it was only red and black, but now I kind of want a red and blue one too. Or sorry, a black and blue one. So this is the case out of the box. It looks very nice, but like every other case basically on the market, it comes in this hard shell foam. It's okay, but if it takes a hit it cracks, and after that it can't take another one. And of course it comes wrapped in this plastic bag which does nothing except give you a static shock once you've taken it off. But that's that for the packaging, and then we can move on to the actual case, which I am quite excited about. Static electricity is already attracting random little bits of crap to it. This case is absolutely gorgeous. One thing I will say about it, it is very, very nice. I love this mesh in the front with the red accent. I think it looks very nice, and we do have a magnetic dust filter up the top. You can see that there, that sits nice and flush. If we move around to the side, you can see we have a pretty small side panel window, but you have to think about it in comparison, that's the word, to the size of the case. So that's actually a pretty decently sized side panel window. You'll be able to see most of your hardware through that. If we move around to the back, you can see we have our first expansion slot is a normal tab, and then there's breakaway slots for the rest. Our connections are in here, and the one thing I was hoping I wouldn't see on this case is multicolored cables. That's a big red flag for me when it comes to a case like this. Now, guaranteed, it is only a £49 case, which is 55-ish euro. But still, 55 quid is an okay amount of money. I would like black cables. Now, I'm sure I'll be able to cable management this decently enough so that you're not going to be able to see it all too well, but it would have been nice just to not have to try and hide them, make them completely black. Saves everyone time. Well, except for the company, because they have to, you know, make the cables black. But I just think it'd make the building experience so much better. So if I take off this side panel here, if it'll let me. Now you kind of get a better look at that side panel window, the size of it compared to the actual side panel. It takes up maybe 55-60% of the entire amount of space in the side panel, so it's not too bad. Put that in the box, make sure that's okay. Now we get to the real nitty gritty. This case is basically an entire open chamber that's just set aside by the power supply shroud. I love it. I think it looks incredible. I love these open design cases that just lets the air through. The size of this case as well, I think, makes this design a lot better. Like you see some M-ATX cases, the thermal take versus the H15 for instance, it has the drive cage in the way, and there's no power supply shroud. I just think it doesn't look as nice. It looks very cheap compared to this. I think it looks very, very nice. I quite like it. There should be enough room up here for me to bring my 8-pin connections through as well, which is nice, because I hate building with a case that doesn't allow you to easily bring your cables through. It's a bit of an annoyance. Now I can move this around and you can kind of see those 3 fans in the front. Those have a red ring around the front of them that lights up LED. Now in this main chamber we can see some cables poking out here. We will get to them later on when we look at the back. Right up here on the top of the power supply shroud, we have some very hard to get open thumb screws. And we have 2 SSD mounting trays. So I think this is the one I'm going to be using. Yeah, so this is a 400 gig SSD. This is the one I'm actually going to be using in this build. And then this is a 120 gig. So basically, if I can find out how on earth this works. Okay, so it lifts up like so, and you just lift it off like a hinge. It slips in, goes straight back down, and then you screw it on. It's okay. So this is a very easy design. I quite like it. There's no need for really bending much up and making a little cage for the SSD to sit into or slide into. This is quite literally, you screw your SSD on and this gets screwed onto the case. A lot of cases kind of over design them where there's like a retention thing where you have to put it down and it won't move whatsoever once that thumb screw is in. This is a very easy design. I can see this is kind of where they could save money on making a case like this. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, I'm saying that it's a good thing, because that means they can put that money they saved in R&D for this into the rest of the case, which I'm pretty sure they did, because this case is absolutely gorgeous. So I do quite like seeing the easy design, and I think it looks nice. Once that SSD is on there, that's all you're going to see. Like, you're not going to see much whatsoever. That's it. It's very understated. There's nothing major there. I quite like that. There's very little play once you screw it down. But I mean, an SSD has no moving parts, so that's not going to matter unless you install a 2.5-inch hard drive, which I had one here somewhere. God knows where that's gone. No, there was one there like 2 seconds ago. It was old and crappy anyway. God knows. Yeah, and then we do have this like aerofoil design here, and I've never understood what that's for. Maybe letting air in and pushing it up towards the graphics card. That would make sense actually. It looks quite nice. Again, I kind of prefer just a straight blank panel, because I'm getting air in anyway. That's not going to be a problem. But yeah, that's really it. There's not much here. We have a bit of a hole here so you can see whatever brand your power supply is. Now the side panel window doesn't allow that, and I saw someone commented on an unboxing of this before saying, what's the point in having that hole there when you can't see it through the side panel window? But I'm pretty sure they have it there simply for when you have your side panel off. If you want to show people what parts are in your system, you can take the side panel off. It lets you see everything, and you can also see the power supply. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, power supply is the least thing. I cannot speak today. Power supply isn't the most. I think I'm having a stroke. The power supply is the thing I least want to be seen. There we go. Oh God, I can't wait to go to bed. Right, so that's basically for the front panel. There's nothing else really there. And we can run back here. Need a screwdriver again. go. There's not much play in these side panels. There's a little bit, but it's not like anything. Nothing to worry about. So, take all these cables out of the way. So this case does not come with, oh, it has one of these designs for the hard drives. Okay, not preferred, but it will work. Most cases will come with, you know, the a hard drive caddy. So you slot the hard drive into the caddy, and the caddy slips in and locks in. This one, I believe, is going to use a screw that goes partly into the hard drive, and then that slips onto these little rails in here, and that'll keep the power supply in. And then there's another hole down here to screw it in to keep it exactly where it is. So this hard drive cage is removable. You can take off the thumb screw, and then there's screws on the bottom of the case, and then this will slide out, and you can move it up about, I don't know, 1.5 cm, 2 centimeters, if you want more room for a power supply. I'm tempted to do that because I'm going to have a lot of cables shoved in here, although it's going to add a little bit more turbulence now it's back here, because it's going to be the air coming straight from the fan hitting the cage. I guess everything is a give and take, but that's really it. We do have rubber grommets only here, and they're absolutely despicable. Like, you'd be better off not having them there whatsoever, because the second you try and put your 24 pin through that, they're going to start coming off. Like, that's just not even funny. So that's another black mark against this case. The only thing that's keeping it really together is the fact that it looks nice and it has a fan controller. We'll have to see once I build the system in it, but I mean, I'd still recommend it. It looks like it's going to be a nice case to build in, but that I shouldn't be able to just take that out so easily. They're just going to be a pain when I'm building with it. Nothing else really to say about back here. We have a nice amount of room for cable management. I cannot find my tape measure to measure how much we have, but there's probably maybe 1.5 centimeters, no, about 1 centimeter of room, which isn't bad whatsoever. That's quite nice. You'll definitely be able to fit like a cable extension back there. Like, even if the connection itself was back here, you know, that takes up less than half of the space, so you're going to be alright. Your 24 pin's going to fit behind here, no problem. Which is a very good thing, because we're using cable extensions in such a small case. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm definitely going to have to move this cage up further. Now if we move towards our cables, we can see that your hard drive LED and power LED and stuff like that, those connections are all black. But for some reason the HD audio and the USB 2 are multicolored, which is just sloppy work. Luckily this is not a blue cable. Every now and then you'll find a case where this is a blue cable, and that irritates me. But we're doing okay so far. There are random twist ties just left here really loose on the fan controllers. I'm guessing that's just in case the cables get pulled apart, that they're not going to go everywhere. Just zip tie them together if you don't want them coming apart. That's a bit weird. I mean, that's really it. We have a couple of connections for our fan controller. They are only 3-pin though, which is a bit of a shame. And I think we only have one free connection. Do we? Yeah, it's all daisy chained together. So if I can get any of this free, because it's all in and around itself. Let's you up over there. Now, right, so the power there goes to this one, to that one, to this one to that one. Yeah, so we have one free connection, which is a bit stupid considering you could have 2 more fans. Now I'm sure you could just use a splitter, but there's space for 2 more fans. Give me 2 more connections on my fan controller. I'm not going to be using them anyway, but still, it's such an odd... You'd think stuff like that would make sense. Front panel connections, they are the same on every single case. There's no need to go through that. On the bright side, the managing of this is clean enough. They're basically just all together, and they're not randomly in different numbered ones. They're all 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could probably get rid of these pretty easily. I'm probably going to separate these, make this a lot easier. So now this one's free to go wherever it wants, and I can cable tie all these together. Like so. I'll probably run them across there, right in between those two, right in between there. So now we have our power supply in and our fans are on there on the lowest setting. The only other settings there are that the low, off, or high. I'm thinking about putting my radiator for the 240mm AIO on the front, so I'll probably have to leave all these fans on high. But it's not too bad. They're not incredibly loud. There's a bit of air turbulence noise and you can hear the motors, but they're not stupidly loud. You might just be able to see the back one in there. Yeah, I quite like this case. It is very nice, and you can do a very nice build with it. There are a couple of gripes I have with it, like these feckin' yokes, and the cables not being black. Other than that, you know, there's only things that are human error. Like my power supply, the cables are way too long, so making those cable extensions, I have 30cm cable extensions that I have to fit in there as well. That's going to be incredibly hard to do. So there's my own error as well on top of this. But yeah. And actually, I haven't spoken about the front I/O yet. Now that I think about it. So now, if we say you have your low and high setting, I'm not sure. So that isn't actually a button. That's an LED button, I'm guessing. That means there's gonna be an RGB version somewhere, or they're just using the front panel off another case. So we have 2 USB 2, 1 USB 3 with room for another USB 3 here, reset button, power button, headphone, microphone jack. That's about it. As long as with your dust filter as well. I already showed that off. That's really it. But that's all on the front. So yeah, so that's it for this case really. There's nothing else much to be said. I would recommend this case, especially for the price. It's 55 quid. You know, it's not going to break the bank, although it is a nice amount of money, but it's in the right kind of price point, especially if you're looking for a micro ATX case. There's micro ATX is a very widely used board for cheaper builds, but when it comes to cases, it's a bit of a niche. So you're either going to get a really cheap one or you're going to get a really expensive one. I think this one sits itself right in the middle and it does it well. So if you don't mind the coloured cables and the really bad rubber grommets, I would recommend this case. Other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.